Okay, Abusia, Attorney General Dominic Ayine Abaponten Ababe expose Ghana Bar Association and foreign associations behind that partisan politics or moye ever the removal of former Chief Justice Torkornoo. Abusia, Attorney General Ababe blast Ghana Bar Association president. Asanso are exposing was a partisan politics na say removal of former Chief Justice Torkornoo or more criticized say enam emra kwanso ena omodefa so former Chief Justice Torkornoo na Dominic Ayine oye Attorney General Edema Ghana no wa kire omo wa schooly omo with legal wisdom say wa wodin say sinbo or say sa omo partisan politics na omo nam kwanso omo ye ne de omo tolerate. Enduring Akuffo Addo tenure and sembi so a judicial system ni mo ana Ghana Bar Association and it's so-called foreign associations are almost intervening the removal process of former Chief Justice Torkornoo. Omo nyina komano tum na during Mahama the government ne de abusuya omo enya no ede kasa Attorney General edin says in the book schooly Ghana Bar Association, UK Bar Association, the foreign association na omoye against the removal of former Chief Justice Torkornoo. Abusuya papa no aba expose omo yanko na yanko ti ensema Attorney General to that unsubscribe subscribe like and share my afofron so answer into me and kabi Ghana Politics Avenue. So, and don't forget to click on the notification bell so that any updates be able drop biano once able to me akabi medamase.
The scathing critique, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice Dr. Dominic Ayine has accused the Ghana Bar Association of descending into partisan politics and abandoning its core principles. Speaking at the annual GBA conference currently underway in the Upper West Regional Capital, WA, Dr. Ayine expressed disappointment with the association's inconsistent advocacy and perceived bias. Dr. Ayine, who is also the leader of the bar, pointed out that the GBA silence on the removal of the former Electoral Commission Chair Atř0c and the deputies, contrasting it with their vocal stance on the constitutional process that removed the Chief Justice Torkornoo.
We risk undermining the very foundation of our professional credibility. We must remember that our allegiance is first and foremost to the Constitution and this Republic, not to transient political interests. Over 3 decades have passed since the adoption of our Constitution. During this period, our Republic has tested and continues to test the resilience of its democratic institutions. In doing this, the bar has played a crucial role in assisting the Supreme Court to interpret and enforce the Constitution. But outside the courtroom, the advocacy of the bar as a professional group has lacked consistency, bringing into question its adherence to principle. Ladies and gentlemen, when in 2015, an Article 146 petition was received by the Chief Justice in relation to the former chairperson of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Madam Loretta Lamte, the bar failed to speak out about process. In the run-up to the 2016 elections, the then opposition New Patriotic Party engaged the Electoral Commission in court battles over the voter identification system. This gave rise to the Abu Ramadan line of cases. Immediately upon assuming office in 2017, an Article 146 petition was filed for the removal of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Mrs. Atř0c, and her deputies from office. The bar saw no basis to speak out about compliance with due process. But in recent times, the bar found its voice when petitions based upon the same constitutionally defined procedures were brought in respect of the removal from office of the former Chief Justice, Mrs. Gertrude Araba Torkornoo. Ladies and gentlemen, the honest question we have to ask ourselves is, what changed? The three petitions aforementioned touch and concern officeholders of three constitutional bodies critical to the sustenance of our democracy. The independence of the three institutions has been guaranteed by the Constitution. The three occupants were all women of significant repute and members of our noble profession. The three committees established pursuant to Article 146 complied with the constitutional procedure to the letter. And yet, the bar found its voice only in relation to the third petition. Coincidentally, the voice of the bar amplified the voice of the opposition. The lawyer in politics must be a voice of reason, moderation, and constitutionalism. The bar must speak out not to please governments or opposition parties, but to defend the rule of law, the independence of the judiciary, and the rights of the ordinary citizen. The Ghana Bar Association is not merely a professional body. It is a moral compass of the legal fraternity and a key pillar in the construction of our constitutional democracy. As Lord Denning once wrote, and I quote, "Justice must be rooted in confidence, and confidence is destroyed when right-minded people go away thinking that the judge was biased." The same applies to the bar. Our authority as a profession depends on public confidence that we stand above the fray of narrow partisanship. Let us therefore be the conscience of the Republic, fearless when governments overreach, impartial when opposition agitates, and always faithful to the sovereignty of the people under the Constitution. And talking of sovereignty, we should desist from the temptation of inviting foreign interference in our internal constitutional processes. As a professional body, there is absolutely nothing wrong with forming relationships with like-minded foreign associations. Such relationships are necessary for cross-fertilization of ideas on professional matters such as standards. That is where it should end. Interference in constitutional politics risks violating the principle that sovereignty resides in the people of Ghana, in whose name and for whose benefit the powers of government are to be exercised. My distinguished colleagues, the task before us is clear. We must renew the spirit of the profession. We must strengthen ethical discipline within our ranks. A few errant lawyers can tarnish the credibility of the entire bar. The Ghana Bar Association must be vigilant in holding us to the highest standards of integrity. We must deepen access to justice. Legal aid must not be a token gesture. It must be a living reality for the poor. The state is committed to resourcing the Legal Aid Commission, but the bar must also embrace pro bono culture as part of its civic duty. We must modernize our justice system. E-filing, case management reforms, and digital court process, records are not luxuries. They are necessities if we have to build a judiciary fit for the 21st century. We must reclaim our role as guardians of democracy. The voices of lawyers must not fall silent when constitutionalism is under threat, whether from the executive, the legislature, from political parties, or even from within us. Madam President, my lords and learned friends, the quasi-constitutional nature of the bar places it squarely in the center of our state bureaucracy and by extension, our politics. This deprives the bar of the requisite independence to be truly professional. This constitutional grant of privilege, or if you wish, of right, flies directly in the face of the equality of treatment that ought to be accorded to all professional bodies in the country, in terms of Article 17 of the Constitution. Of course, the Constitution was written by and for lawyers. However, and excuse my language, This self-serving ingratiation of the bar into the bureaucratic structures of the state flouts the principle of equality. So, Madam President, I'm inviting you today for us to re-examine critically this model of the relationship between the bar and the state that puts it at the center of bureaucratic politics as well as the politics of the country. The destiny of Ghana is tied to the integrity of a legal profession. If we stand firm, this republic will stand firm. If we falter, this republic will stumble. Let us therefore recommit ourselves to the ideals of our forebears: justice, integrity, freedom, and service. And let the bar of Ghana remain, as it has always been, the living conscience of the nation.
Right, so that's the Attorney General, Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine. Mincing no words in taking on the Ghana Bar Association. He also alleged that the GBA's voice often echoes that of the opposition, suggesting a political tilt rather than a neutral professional stance. Dr. Ayine described the current GBA as, quote, self-serving, unquote, now implying the organization prioritizes its own interests over the broader legal profession and societal needs. But in response, the president of the Ghana Bar Association, Ifwagate, raised concerns over the procedure that led to the removal of the former Chief Justice, Atř0c, describing it as unfair and a threat to the independence of the judiciary. According to her, the process not only lacked transparency, but also undermined the principles of natural justice expected in matters involving the head of the judicial arm of government.
The Constitution of the Ghana Bar Association enjoins us to protect the independence of the judiciary. This is a duty the association does not take lightly, and from time immemorial, the bar has fiercely performed this duty. My learned friends, we are all aware that Article 146 of our 1992 Constitution has come under severe scrutiny in recent times. For the first time under the Fourth Republic, it's been evoked in respect of a Chief Justice. The position of the bar must be stated clearly in this regard. The bar recognizes the fact that the power of removal can be exercised under Article 146, but the bar's major concern relates to the process. In the absence of specific rules of procedure, the sketchy process potentially lends itself to arbitrariness and a lack of fairness. Hence, the bar's resolution on the matter, which was as follows. The Ghana Bar Association hereby also calls for the immediate enactment of clear and comprehensive regulations relating to matters under Article 146 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana to ensure transparency, accountability, and fairness in all proceedings involving Superior Court justice, particularly in the context of the impeachment or removal of such officers. This resolution was passed and publicized by 30th April 2025. However, no rules were produced. It is commonly said that justice should not only be done, but manifestly be seen to have been done. The lack of an enactment for such rules in the case of the removal of the fourth highest person in the nation should be a matter of concern for all of us. These rules should have been known to all and sundry before the commencement of the process, as it greatly affects the standard to be met. It ends up being an unfortunate precedent which lacks fairness, a situation that calls for redress, if indeed we are custodians of justice. We all deserve justice, from the well-endowed in society to the less endowed, from those who wield political power to those who don't, from those who have economic power and those who don't, from those who dispense justice to those who receive justice.
Right, so you can say this was obviously a direct response to the Attorney General on a matter of the removal of the Chief Justice. Now, what do you make of this? The AG has made his position clear on his perception of the Ghana Bar Association. We also heard the president of the GBA also speak to these matters. You can drop your comments on our social media handles, on X Spaces, on YouTube, and of course on Facebook. Now let's expand the discussion. Let me bring in the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Bar Association, Sylvia Kujo, and also former Deputy Attorney General Atř0c. We'll also be joined by the NDC legal team as well. Justice Kujo, good afternoon and welcome to the Pulse.
My name is Sylvia Kujo.
Sorry, Sylvia. Good afternoon and welcome to the program.
I must apologize for my voice because I have a very bad cold.
It looks like all of us are affected by the cold. Also joining us is a former Deputy Attorney General Atř0c. Mr. Atř0c, good afternoon. Always a pleasure to see you here. Great. So first, let me start with you, Sylvia. I mean, you are in the Upper West region, regional capital, right?
I am here now.
Right. So, I mean, how would you describe how the opening ceremony went?
I would say that it was successful, as has always been the case.
And, I mean, the Attorney General spoke to this matter. But first, let's start from the president of the Bar Association. On the matter of Article 146, he maintains the fact that the removal lacks fairness. And this fairness from her presentation relates to the lack of procedure to guide the entire process. Is that the position of the Ghana Bar Association?
Yeah, that is the position, because that was the exact position that we took when we had a media conference at Labadi Beach Hotel. Mm-hmm. If you listen to the president of the Ghana Bar Association carefully, she acknowledged the fact that the power to remove people under Article 146 is not in doubt.
Right.
The only concern is that there must be regulations guiding the process, the step-by-step procedures to be followed, because as it is now, that has not been done. That is why if reference is made to the removal of former Electoral Commission Chair and former Shraj boss, I think that those examples are not relevant, because suggestions that are being made now are about what has gone on in the past. But it didn't happen. So going forward, we think that it's not fair to continue in that same way. That is all we say. It's not because a particular individual was involved, not at all. It's about the office of those people. So it could be you, it could be me, provided we qualify to occupy these positions.
But the claim is that you took a position when the former Chief Justice was going through the process and the subsequent action that was taken. And the AG says that your voice was lost when similar, procedure went on in a matter relating to the former chairperson of the Electoral Commission and, of course, the former head of Shraj. In all these two instances, according to him, the Ghana Bar Association was stone silent, but found its voice when Torkornoo went through similar arrangement under Article 146.
I think I've explained that already. I don't think that anybody can fault that Bar Association for taking a position going forward. What is wrong to start something at a stage? Is there anything wrong that because I didn't do something yesterday, I cannot do it now? Provided I think that going forward as a group or as a society, that is what I think is fair to everybody. I don't think there's anything wrong. So the events that happened in the past, and the immediate party Chief Justice, have already taken place. Then must we leave the law the way it is? It mustn't be so, because we are being reactive at the same time proactive. Because that office will not remain vacant. It will be occupied by somebody, Bawumia. Are we expecting it to continue? That's what we're saying. That look, the law is made it clear, the power has been given. and how do we apply the power lawfully?
Let me bring in the former Deputy AG. I'll come back to ask you about the way forward. Now that you say that procedure is key in matters of this nature. Mr. Atř0c, you listen to the Attorney General, and of course you also listen to the President of the Ghana Bar Association on the matter of consistency and when the GBA chose to be silent and when he chose to speak. What is your reading of how the two members communicated their feelings on this particular platform?
I'm also in WA, and so
right
in the conference venue when the AG delivered the speech as well as the president of the bar. I must first and foremost point it out that the Attorney General is the leader of the bar, as we put it all the time. And so if you want to see the first gentleman leading the bar is the Attorney General. And so the pronouncement of the Attorney General that the bar some time ago lost its voice and it's now seeking to criticize the bar. The only implication that the Attorney General was criticizing himself. Because if you are a leader of a group and you choose not to correct what you think were wrong yesterday and you want to criticize people in public, I mean, you also, but that's an aspect. Now, at the Ghana Bar Association, the GBA, something as and when they deem nobody to issue statements on issues or matters affecting the nation. But let me take you back. In 2014, 2015, thereabouts, I'm not very sure about it yet. The head of Atř0c was removed during the NDC era under President Mahama. At that time, did the bar issue any statement? No. Under President Akuffo, the three EC chairpersons were also removed. And now the contention of the AG is that the bar lost its voice. So meaning in 2014, during their reign, the bar did not issue statements because the bar did not need necessary at the time to issue. 2017, 2018, no statement was issued. As the GBA PRO said, the fact that something was done yesterday and you think wasn't proper should not mean that it should be repeated. I expected the Attorney General to have commended the Bar Association for standing up for the judiciary. Worldwide and under Commonwealth, you realize that it is the Bar Association that speaks for the judiciary because they are not able to speak when they are under attack. And the comparison that he drew, the EC and then the Chief Justice.
Right.
With all due respect, the Chief Justice is the head of an arm of government. That one should not be lost on us. The Electoral Commission is an independent constitutional body, but technically speaking, serves under the executive. And so you cannot be using the two scenarios to say because they don't criticize yesterday, today they cannot criticize. In any event, the AG sought to create the impression that the GBA criticizes only NDC government and not NPP administration.
Right.
But I can give this example. If the Attorney General attended the 2019 Ghana Bar Association conference in Takoradi, you realize that the president of the bank, Mr. Anthony Forson, then criticized the government, and the president was even there. Fast forward, in Cape Coast, when Yabuah was the president, he criticized the government. The president was there. Last year in Kumasi, the bar president took the NPP government on. And so the Attorney General must also realize that it is not about NDC government or NPP government. If issues are brought up for discussion, that thinking that people are so political, so we should not even listen to because they belong to party A or party B is something that the learned age, with all due respect, must get over it. We are building a country. We have institutions that are non-partisan. Let those institutions make their comments as and when necessary. You may disagree with them, which I think you may think that maybe the GBA issue a statement criticizing maybe the procedure. You may say as a procedure you think A, B, C, D. That would be fair. But criticizing the GBA for coming out is something that I think a leader of the bar in the person of AG should not be spearheading.
so the AG, the bar president, also make reference to the unfairness in the removal process of the former Chief Justice. This procedure that the GBA requested, which according to her was never provided, and then the 5-member committee came to a determination. They made their recommendation. The president acted upon it. Mr. Twanyebwa, is it very necessary that we have such procedure in place to avoid what may be described as unfairness in the future?
We need to have such a procedure in place. And that's why the GBA at the media conference came out with that resolution. That resolution still stands. I heard the AG some time ago that the government or the AG was also in the process of putting before Parliament a CI to regulate the process.
Right.
Such a step is commendable. I need to make sure that we have the rules of procedure when it comes to the removal of a superior court judge or the Chief Justice.
Mr. Xavier, how independent is the GBA in terms of?
Okay, abusuya wene ensema ekọ so Attorney General NHS Ojina Ghana Bar Association anim na ode mom left right center baka enye asam keto akra beda mase samoje pene kokoti sa ensemwe ede mi Ghana Politics Avenue. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so na any update bia e be drop bia no wonso wonsa ebetumi aka beda mase.